The fifth season of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power succeeds because it's an energetic, exciting season of television, and it succeeds because it focuses on the characters and the relationships between them. But most of all, it succeeds because of how it pays off the previous 4 seasons of the show, particularly in regards to Catra's story. Beneath her bluster, Catra is a lonely and scared person, and she does not know how to handle her feelings of guilt and doubt. When Horde Prime takes control of her, and she then tries to convince Adora to join the Hive Mind, it's a terrifying moment, all the more so because even though Horde Prime is controlling her, these feelings are not completely alien to her own experience. She speaks of how much better it feels to be free of this loneliness, and you have to wonder how much of that is genuine. Catra's pain is raw, and it cannot easily be fixed. When Adora saves her life, Catra is not sure how to react. She wants Adora to leave her alone, and she cannot stand to face the others. However, Adora does not accept this. She saves Catra and removes the chip on her neck. There are several reasons for this. The most obvious and practical one is that the Horde, and Horde Prime in particular, was tracking Adora and her group through the little hive mind thing on Catra's neck. So if they wanted to escape the tracking, they needed to get that out. However, that is not the only reason. There is also the personal component, and this is far more difficult to quantify. Adora cannot bring herself to give up on Catra, even though she has every reason to do so. Rationally, she cannot justify this. But things like forgiveness and mercy and love are not always necessarily rational, now are they? She cares about Catra, and she sees the good in Catra, so she gives Catra another chance, and this time Catra proves herself. Overcoming her shame, she forces herself to face the group, apologizing for what she has done throughout the past few seasons. It is awkward and uncomfortable at first, and although from my perspective they may be a little too quick to forgive her, considering what she has done to them, it is true that they are very kind and merciful people. From our perspective as audience members, this is an incredibly heartwarming scene, as we've seen Catra struggle with her worst impulses. We've seen her in loneliness and isolation. We see her true self even when it is obscured to the other characters, and we want her to be better, so it's such a relief when she finally makes that step toward being better. Even as some of Adora's allies have turned against her because of Horde Prime's hive mind control, Adora, her friend turned enemy, has returned to being her friend again. Adora is so glad and satisfied to have Catra back. Their relationship is a lot deeper than either of them realize at the start of the season. What I love is that this is not the end. It occurs around the halfway mark in Season 5, leaving plenty of time for Adora to try to integrate Catra into the group. However, it is not that easy. Even though Adora and Catra are on the same side now, the discomfort in that relationship is not entirely gone. Things like that don't just vanish overnight. Sometimes the strained relationship between Catra and the others is played for comedy, such as when they encounter a group member who has been out of the information loop for a while, and this person does not realize that Catra is on the side of right now, so they try to attack her. However, more often, this strain is played for drama, and there is a subtle undercurrent of Adora's friends not completely trusting Catra despite what they say and despite wanting her to actually be redeemed. They want this to be the truth, but they're not entirely sure they can trust her. These tensions rise to the surface with the arrival of Shadow Weaver, the surrogate mother of Adora and Catra, and something of an abusive parent. Shadow Weaver wants to make amends, and Adora is willing to forgive her, but Catra is not. Catra has been hurt too much. While part of me wishes they had spent a little more time substantiating this dynamic, there is more than enough here for you to really feel the depths of Catra's pain and sorrow and suffering. Though she wants to redeem herself, and her love for Adora is deep, she does not want to work with the person who has been responsible for so much of the pain in her life. And I think this is kind of completely understandable. In Catra's mind, Adora has to choose between either Catra or Shadow Weaver, and she chooses Shadow Weaver. Now, is this true, logically speaking? Well, not really, but you really understand where Catra's coming from, especially considering the extent of her trauma. However, when all hope is lost and Adora is in danger, it is Catra who comes to save her. Shadow Weaver helps Catra find Adora, with Catra instructing her to actually make herself useful for once and help the world instead of hurting those in it. This is not to say that Catra trusts Shadow Weaver, but she cares about Adora, and if Shadow Weaver is the only way to get to Adora, so be it. It turns out that Catra loves Adora more than she hates Shadow Weaver, and more than she is afraid of being vulnerable. Despite what Catra has said, she cannot move on without resolution to her relationship with Adora. For seasons now, she's been unable to shake her obsession with Adora, even when doing so would have been practically beneficial to her. She says she wants to be alone, but in reality she is terrified of that loneliness, and she is willing to do whatever she must to be free of it. The reason she cannot admit this to Adora, or even really to herself, is because she is afraid of Adora and the group rejecting her. And this is not a completely senseless fear, considering how much real damage and pain she has caused Adora and that group. If Catra was in their position, she probably would not forgive herself. Catra cannot forgive Catra, so she has a hard time accepting that the group does in fact forgive her. Adora, however, helps heal her, restoring her faith that she can be good, and that she can trust herself again. This cements the depths of Catra's caring for Adora. There is nothing that she would not do for Adora, even when all the light has faded and there is nothing left but darkness. Adora saves Catra's life in the first half of the season, so it is fitting that as the season approaches its end, it is Catra who saves Adora, being there for her even when the world is cloaked in shadow. They declare their love for each other, for in each other they have found the peace they have sought. It's a beautiful moment, and I love how they build to it. I love that Catra does not just join the group at the end of the season. Instead, she joins early, and so much time is spent on the tensions between Catra and the rest of the group, or even between the various parts of Catra's psychology as she tries to figure out what exactly she wants and what exactly her relationship with Adora is. At the start of the series, Adora is quite myopic. She is headstrong and a bit selfish. She has incredible power, true, but she does not know what to do with that power, and she does not know how to react when that power is not enough. However, as the series progresses, she starts to trust those besides herself, and she grows stronger because of that. This is not to say the lesson always sinks in, or that Adora is perfect. Neither is true. However, what is true is that Adora gradually accepts that her powers are not a replacement for the love of those around her, those who care about her, those who are willing to help her, even in times of stress and grief. And that includes the love of one special person in particular, that being Catra. They've known each other longer than they have known anyone else, and even when they fight, they cannot stop looking for each other. They cannot stop being in each other's orbits. They care about each other, and they can't let go of that caring, that compassion. This is not to say that every element of the last episode is handled perfectly. There are so many characters and so many moving pieces in the finale that it would have been really difficult for the show to handle everything perfectly. So yeah, some characters are left out that maybe should have been included, and some storylines kind of get a little stilted. Or stunted. They don't receive the proper conclusion that they should have. However, the main heart of the show, which is and always has been the bond between Catra and Adora, the show does do that justice. Though their plan is to save the grand heart that Horde Prime wants to exploit for his evil purposes, the hearts that they truly care about the most are each other's. Catra's redemption was not easy, but she finally gave in. She finally allowed herself to be redeemed. She finally allowed herself to care about the person who matters most to her in the world. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more videos like this. Go back and rewatch She-Ra. It really is a fantastic show. It's one of the great empathy dramas of this new decade. These shows that care more about the relationships between characters than mere fisticuffs. Anyway, tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. I promise you that. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.